If you've ever told yourself, "This time I'll stick to it," and then quietly watched yourself fall off track a few days later, you probably think your problem is discipline. You start strong, new routine, new habit, new version of you, and then something small happens. You miss one day, you feel tired, you lose momentum, and suddenly the whole thing feels heavy. It doesn't look like a big deal, but it says more than you think. Most people assume consistency is about willpower, but when you look closer, inconsistency is usually a protection pattern. Think about the small moments. You hesitate before posting something you worked on. You rewrite a message 3 times before sending it. You delay starting because you want it to feel right. You stop showing up the moment you feel behind. On the surface, that looks like laziness or lack of focus. Underneath, it often means something else. Consistency requires visibility. Visibility invites judgment. Judgment feels unsafe, so your brain finds a way to step back. That's not weakness, it's protection. And here's where it gets interesting. The real struggle with consistency isn't about habits, it's about identity. When you try to be consistent, you're not just repeating actions, you're challenging the version of yourself you've been used to being. If you've always seen yourself as the one who starts but doesn't finish, then finishing consistently creates tension. It feels unfamiliar, almost suspicious. Your nervous system prefers familiar discomfort over unfamiliar growth. So you unconsciously return to what matches your identity. Not because you want to fail, but because your system is wired to preserve who you think you are. There's also control hidden inside inconsistency. When you stop early, when you quit quietly, when you disappear before anyone expects more from you, you control the narrative. If you never fully commit, you never fully risk finding out how far you could go. And that protects you from something deeper than failure. It protects you from exposure, from being seen trying, from being seen wanting, from being seen caring. Because caring makes you vulnerable. And for many people, especially those who grew up being judged, compared, or only praised for results, inconsistency becomes a way to avoid emotional danger. If you don't try fully, it won't hurt fully. So the pattern continues. You're not inconsistent because you're incapable. You're inconsistent because part of you is still negotiating safety. And once you start noticing that, the story shifts. It was never random. It wasn't a character flaw. It was a pattern built to protect an identity that once needed it. When you see that, something changes. Not because you forced yourself to be different, but because you finally understand what your behavior was trying to do for you. And awareness like that has a quiet way of changing how you move. If this explains something you've been feeling but couldn't name, there's always more to uncover. Understanding yourself is the beginning of everything.